Learn the ropes. To become familiar with the basic procedures, rules, or techniques of a particular activity or job. To gain experience and knowledge necessary to navigate a new environment or situation successfully. It took him some time to learn the ropes of being a teacher, but eventually he became adept at managing his classroom and engaging his students. As a new employee, I spent my first week learning the ropes of the company's operations. The freshman struggled initially, but after a few weeks, he began to learn the ropes of college life and adjust to the academic demands. The interns were eager to learn the ropes of working in a professional setting and contributing to the team. She shadowed an experienced chef in the kitchen to learn the ropes of preparing gourmet dishes. Pass with flying colors. To achieve a high score or excellent performance, especially in an examination, test, or evaluation. To succeed impressively or excel in a particular endeavor, surpassing expectations or standards. The team worked collaboratively and presented their project with flying colors, impressing the judges and winning first place. I was nervous about the final exam, but I passed with flying colors. Despite the challenging course material, he managed to pass the advanced math class with flying colors, earning praise from his professor. The athlete trained rigorously and was proud to pass the fitness test with flying colors, surpassing the required benchmarks. She studied diligently and was thrilled to pass her driving test with flying colors on her first attempt. Read between the lines. To understand or interpret the hidden or implied meaning in written or spoken communication, beyond the literal words. To discern subtleties, nuances, or underlying messages that are not explicitly stated or obvious. The journalist interviewed the politician, paying close attention to his statements and trying to read between the lines to uncover any hidden agendas. She carefully read between the lines of the contract to identify any hidden clauses or potential pitfalls. The detective examined the crime scene, looking for clues and trying to read between the lines to piece together what had happened. As a therapist, she was trained to listen empathetically and read between the lines to understand her client's unspoken emotions and concerns. When analyzing poetry, it's essential to read between the lines to grasp the poet's intended themes and symbolism. In the same boat. In a similar situation or circumstance as others, facing the same challenges, difficulties, or hardships, sharing a common predicament, experience, or fate with others, often leading to a sense of solidarity or mutual understanding. We're all in the same boat when it comes to preparing for the final exams. The residents affected by the natural disaster knew they were in the same boat and came together to rebuild their community. The employees realized they were in the same boat regarding job insecurity, leading to increased collaboration and support for one another. Facing budget cuts, the school faculty recognized they were in the same boat and worked together to find creative solutions to maintain educational quality. As small business owners, they understood they were in the same boat and relied on each other for advice and encouragement. Cram for the exam. To study intensively and hastily for an examination, often in a short period before the test. To review large amounts of material in a concentrated effort to prepare for an upcoming exam or assessment. Despite his busy schedule, he managed to cram for the exam during his lunch breaks and evenings. The students were stressed out as they crammed for the final exam, hoping to remember all the key concepts. Knowing he had to cram for the exam, he stocked up on coffee and snacks to stay awake during his late-night study sessions. I didn't have much time to study, so I had to cram for the exam the night before. She regretted procrastinating and had to cram for the exam in the days leading up to it. A steep learning curve. A situation in which acquiring new knowledge, skills, or abilities requires significant effort and time due to the complexity or difficulty of the subject matter. The rate at which someone learns or adapts to a new task, role, or environment, often characterized by a sharp increase in knowledge or proficiency. Learning to play a musical instrument can have a steep learning curve, requiring patience and practice to develop proficiency. The advanced calculus course had a steep learning curve, challenging even the most dedicated students. As a novice hiker, she faced a steep learning curve as she navigated challenging trails and learned outdoor survival skills. Despite his experience in other fields, he found programming to have a steep learning curve and struggled to grasp the concepts at first. Starting a new job can have a steep learning curve as you familiarize yourself with company policies and procedures. A blessing in disguise. Something that initially appears to be a misfortune or setback, but ultimately results in a positive outcome or benefit. An unexpected event or circumstance that, despite its negative appearance, leads to favorable consequences or opportunities. Failing the entrance exam for his dream college was a blessing in disguise because it led him to discover a different career path that he found more fulfilling. Losing her phone was a blessing in disguise because it encouraged her to spend more time engaging in outdoor activities and connecting with friends face-to-face. The setback forced the team to rethink their strategy, which ultimately proved to be a blessing in disguise as they found a more innovative solution. The canceled flight seemed like a disaster at first, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise when they discovered they avoided a major travel delay. Losing my job turned out to be a blessing in disguise. I found a better job with higher pay and more fulfilling work. Learn the hard way. To gain knowledge or experience through personal mistakes, failures, or difficulties rather than through instruction or advice from others. To acquire understanding or wisdom by experiencing negative consequences or challenges firsthand. After neglecting his health for years, he learned the hard way about the importance of exercise and nutrition when he faced health complications. She learned the hard way not to trust strangers on the internet after falling victim to an online scam. The entrepreneur learned the hard way about the challenges of starting a business when his first venture failed, but he used that experience to succeed in subsequent endeavors. I didn't listen to the warnings about procrastination, so I had to learn the hard way when I failed to complete my assignments on time. Despite his parents' advice, he learned the hard way about the importance of budgeting when he found himself in debt after overspending. Back to the drawing board. To return to the beginning of a project or plan, typically due to a failure, setback, or need for redesign. To start over or reassess one's approach after encountering obstacles or realizing the current plan is not feasible. The prototype didn't meet our expectations, so we have to go back to the drawing board and make revisions. The initial concept for the bridge was structurally unsound, so the engineers had to go back to the drawing board and come up with a new design. The marketing campaign failed to generate interest, prompting the team to go back to the drawing board and develop a new strategy. The software development team encountered unexpected bugs, forcing them to go back to the drawing board and rewrite portions of the code. After receiving feedback from users, the design team decided to go back to the drawing board and refine the product. Build bridges. To establish connections or foster relationships between people, groups, or organizations, often to promote cooperation or understanding. To create opportunities for collaboration or dialogue, particularly in situations where there are differences or conflicts. The engineer's innovative design helped build bridges between different disciplines within the field, leading to interdisciplinary collaboration. As a diplomat, Her role is to build bridges between nations and facilitate peaceful negotiations. The community organizers sought to build bridges between residents and local authorities to address shared concerns. The university organized events to build bridges between students from diverse backgrounds and promote cultural exchange. The nonprofit organization works to build bridges between donors and recipients to ensure effective distribution of resources. Square peg in a round hole. A person or thing that is unsuitable or ill-suited for a particular role, task, or environment. Someone or something that does not fit or belong in a given situation due to differences in personality, skills, or characteristics. The outdated software was a square peg in a round hole in the modern workplace, lacking the features and functionality required for efficient operations. As an artist in a corporate environment, she often felt like a square peg in a round hole. The traditional teaching methods did not resonate with the diverse learning styles of the students, making the curriculum feel like a square peg in a round hole. The athlete's nonconformist attitude made him a square peg in a round hole on the conservative team, leading to conflicts with the coach and teammates. The introverted student struggled to thrive in the highly competitive, extroverted culture of the business school, feeling like a square peg in a round hole. Grease the wheels. To facilitate or expedite a process or activity by making it smoother, easier, or more efficient. To provide assistance or support that helps move things along smoothly, especially in bureaucratic or administrative tasks. Offering incentives can grease the wheels in negotiations, encouraging parties to reach a mutually beneficial agreement. The secretary's organizational skills and attention to detail grease the wheels of the office, keeping things running smoothly. The project manager worked behind the scenes to grease the wheels and ensure that all necessary permits were obtained on time. Networking can help grease the wheels in the job search process, opening doors to opportunities and referrals. A small bribe can grease the wheels and speed up the approval process. Cut corners. To take shortcuts or bypass proper procedures, often in an attempt to save time, effort, or money. To compromise on quality or standards by omitting necessary steps or materials, typically to reduce costs or expedite completion. The contractor cut corners during construction, resulting in structural flaws and safety hazards. The student tried to cut corners by plagiarizing parts of the essay instead of conducting thorough research and writing original content. Cutting corners in cybersecurity measures can leave systems vulnerable to hacking and data breaches, risking sensitive information. The manufacturer cut corners by using inferior materials in the production process, leading to product defects and recalls. The chef refused to cut corners in the kitchen, insisting on using fresh ingredients and following recipes precisely to maintain quality. Nuts and bolts. The fundamental or essential components of something. The basic principles or practical aspects of a task, process, or system. The specific details or technical aspects of a project or operation, especially those related to implementation or execution. Before we dive into the details, let's go over the nuts and bolts of the plan. The lawyer handled the legal aspects of the case, while the paralegal managed the nuts and bolts of document preparation and filing. The training program covers the nuts and bolts of project management, providing participants with practical skills and tools for success. Understanding the nuts and bolts of the machinery is essential for troubleshooting and maintenance. The instructor focused on teaching the students the nuts and bolts of coding, starting with basic syntax and programming concepts. Jump through hoops. To go through a series of difficult or demanding tasks, obstacles, or requirements, often in order to achieve a goal or meet a standard. to navigate bureaucratic or procedural hurdles by completing necessary steps or satisfying specific criteria. The immigration process requires applicants to jump through hoops, providing extensive documentation and attending interviews. Despite the challenges, she was determined to jump through hoops to achieve her dream of starting her own business. She had to jump through hoops to get approval for her research project, dealing with endless paperwork and committee reviews. Entrepreneurs often have to jump through hoops to secure funding for their startups, pitching to investors and meeting financial benchmarks. The athlete had to jump through hoops to qualify for the competition, meeting strict eligibility criteria and training intensively. Move the goalposts. To change the criteria or requirements for success or achievement, often after progress has been made or expectations have been set. To alter the conditions or terms of an agreement or competition, making it more difficult for someone to reach their intended outcome. Despite making progress towards her fitness goals, the trainer kept moving the goalposts by increasing the intensity of the workouts. The company renegotiated the terms of the contract, moving the goalposts to favor their interests and disadvantage the other party. The professor kept moving the goalposts for the research paper, adding new requirements and making it challenging for students to complete. Just when we thought we were close to meeting the project deadline, they moved the goalposts and extended the timeline. The regulatory agency moved the goalposts for compliance, introducing stricter standards and additional requirements for approval. Reinvent the wheel. To waste time, effort, or resources trying to create something that already exists or has been done before, especially without adding significant improvements. To attempt to solve a problem or address a need using unconventional or inefficient methods instead of utilizing existing solutions or knowledge. The company wasted valuable resources reinventing the wheel with their marketing strategy, overlooking proven methods that could have been more effective. The entrepreneur spent years trying to reinvent the wheel with his groundbreaking invention, only to realize that similar products were already on the market. Instead of reinventing the wheel, the team should focus on adapting existing technologies to suit their specific requirements. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. There are plenty of existing software solutions that can meet our needs. The student procrastinated by trying to reinvent the wheel with his research project, instead of building upon existing studies and literature. Tip of the iceberg. A small, visible part of a much larger problem or issue, with the majority of it remaining hidden or undiscovered. The superficial or initial manifestation of a deeper, more significant phenomenon or situation. The recent increase in wildfires is alarming, but it's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the broader issue of climate change. The pollution in the river is just the tip of the iceberg. There are more serious environmental problems lurking beneath the surface. The recent outbreak of disease in the community is just the tip of the iceberg, highlighting underlying issues with public health infrastructure. The deforestation of the Amazon rainforest is devastating, but it's only the tip of the iceberg in terms of global biodiversity loss. The company's financial troubles are evident, but they're only the tip of the iceberg. The full extent of mismanagement is yet to be revealed. Green thumb. A natural talent or skill for gardening, cultivating plants, or maintaining a healthy and thriving garden. A figurative expression for someone who has a knack for environmental stewardship or promoting eco-friendly practices. My grandmother has a green thumb. She can make any plant flourish, no matter how difficult it is to grow. The environmentalist has a green thumb when it comes to sustainability initiatives, implementing green practices in her community. The landscaper's green thumb was evident in the lush gardens and vibrant flowers that adorn the public park. The company's CEO has a green thumb for innovation, leading the development of eco-friendly products and technologies. He inherited his father's green thumb and spent his weekends tending to his vegetable garden, growing organic produce. Eco-friendly, positively contributing to or having minimal impact on the environment, often through sustainable practices or the use of renewable resources. Designed or intended to reduce harm to the environment, minimize pollution, and conserve natural resources. The restaurant promotes eco-friendly practices by composting food waste and offering reusable utensils and containers. We strive to make eco-friendly choices by using biodegradable packaging and sourcing ingredients from sustainable farms. The eco-friendly clothing brand uses organic cotton and recycled materials in their garments to reduce environmental impact. The eco-friendly detergent is made from plant-based ingredients and does not contain harsh chemicals harmful to aquatic ecosystems. The new office building was designed with eco-friendly features such as solar panels and energy-efficient lighting. Leave no trace. A principle of outdoor ethics that encourages individuals to minimize their impact on natural areas by leaving them as undisturbed as possible. To clean up after oneself and ensure that no evidence of human presence remains in wilderness or outdoor environments. The Leave No Trace policy is essential for protecting fragile ecosystems and preserving natural habitats for future generations. Hikers are encouraged to practice leave no trace ethics by staying on designated trails, refraining from picking flowers, and disposing of waste properly. The camping trip was memorable not only for its scenic beauty, but also for the group's commitment to leaving no trace, leaving the campsite cleaner than they found it. As outdoor enthusiasts, we always adhere to the leave no trace principle, packing out all our trash and leaving nature untouched. The Leave No Trace campaign educates outdoor enthusiasts about responsible recreation and minimizing their ecological footprint. In the same boat. In a similar situation or circumstance as others, facing the same challenges, difficulties, or hardships, sharing a common predicament, experience, or fate with others, often leading to a sense of solidarity or mutual understanding. As global citizens, we are all in the same boat when it comes to combating plastic pollution and preserving marine ecosystems. Conservation organizations recognize that we are all in the same boat when it comes to wildlife conservation, regardless of borders or boundaries. Faced with dwindling water resources, communities in the region realized they were in the same boat and collaborated on water conservation initiatives. The residents affected by the industrial pollution realized they were in the same boat and united to demand environmental cleanup efforts. We're all in the same boat when it comes to protecting the environment. We need to work together to address climate change and conservation. Go green. To adopt environmentally friendly practices or behaviors, often with the goal of reducing one's carbon footprint or conserving natural resources. To support initiatives or policies aimed at protecting the environment and promoting sustainability. Many businesses are going green by implementing telecommuting policies and encouraging employees to reduce their reliance on single-use plastics. We decided to go green by installing solar panels on our roof and switching to energy-efficient appliances. The company's commitment to going green is evident in its use of recycled materials and efforts to minimize waste. Individuals can go green by reducing their meat consumption, using reusable shopping bags, and conserving water and electricity. The city launched a campaign to go green, encouraging residents to use public transportation and participate in community cleanup events. The grass is always greener on the other side. A proverbial expression suggesting that people often perceive other situations as better or more desirable than their own, leading to feelings of dissatisfaction or envy. The belief that distant or unfamiliar circumstances appear more favorable or attractive compared to one's current circumstances. Despite his success, he couldn't shake the feeling that the grass was greener elsewhere, always searching for something more fulfilling. After years of working in a demanding job, he realized that the grass wasn't always greener on the other side and learned to appreciate the stability of his current position. She always envied her friend's seemingly perfect life, but she realized that the grass is always greener on the other side. The young professional dreamed of living in a big city, believing that the grass would be greener in a more urban environment. Many people romanticize the past or fantasize about the future, failing to recognize that the grass is not always greener on the other side. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. A cautionary expression advising against harming or showing ingratitude towards someone who provides support, assistance, or resources. An admonition to show appreciation and respect for those who contribute to one's well-being or livelihood. Despite disagreements with management, the workers knew better than to bite the hand that feeds them and remain cooperative to ensure job security. As beneficiaries of public funding, the organization understood the importance of not biting the hand that feeds them and maintain positive relationships with donors. The politician warned against biting the hand that feeds them, urging constituents to appreciate the government's efforts to improve their lives. He reminded his employees not to bite the hand that feeds them by speaking ill of the company that employs them. The actor was careful not to bite the hand that feeds him, expressing gratitude for the opportunities provided by the film studio. Waste not, why not? A proverbial expression advocating for frugality and resourcefulness, suggesting that conserving resources and avoiding waste can prevent future scarcity or need. An admonition to use resources efficiently and avoid extravagance, as it may lead to unnecessary hardship or deprivation in the future. The chef adhered to the principle of waste not, want not, using kitchen scraps to make flavorful stocks and sauces. She was raised with the principle of waste not, want not, always finding creative ways to repurpose or recycle household items. The environmentalist lives by the motto waste not, want not, composting organic waste and minimizing water usage to conserve resources. The family embraced the philosophy of waste not, want not, repairing clothing and furniture instead of discarding them and buying new replacements. In times of scarcity, the community relied on the ethos of waste not, want not, making the most of available resources to ensure everyone's needs were met. Lies through one's teeth. To tell blatant and deliberate lies with full awareness of their falsehood. To lie confidently and convincingly, often without showing any signs of guilt or hesitation. He denied any involvement in the scheme, but we all knew he was lying through his teeth. She accused her colleague of lying through his teeth about his qualifications, suspecting he had exaggerated his experience. The salesman lied through his teeth to make the sale, promising features that the product didn't actually have. Despite the evidence against him, he continued to lie through his teeth, maintaining his innocence. The politician was caught lying through her teeth about her past actions, undermining her credibility. Pull the wool over someone's eyes. To deceive or trick someone by concealing the truth or presenting false information in order to gain an advantage. To manipulate or mislead someone into believing something that is not true. The company's deceptive advertising campaign aimed to pull the wool over consumers' eyes, promising unrealistic benefits of their product. He tried to pull the wool over his boss's eyes by exaggerating his accomplishments on the project. The con artist managed to pull the wool over the elderly woman's eyes, convincing her to hand over her life savings. The fraudulent scheme was designed to pull the wool over investors' eyes, promising high returns with no risk. She realized too late that her partner had been pulling the wool over her eyes for years, hiding his infidelity and financial troubles. Smoke and mirrors. Deceptive or misleading tactics intended to obscure the truth or divert attention from something undesirable. Illusory or superficial methods used to create the appearance of success or competence without substantial substance. The magician's performance was a masterful display of smoke and mirrors, captivating the audience with illusions and sleight of hand. The politician's promises were nothing but smoke and mirrors, lacking concrete plans or achievable goals. The CEO's leadership style relied on smoke and mirrors, emphasizing flashy presentations and rhetoric over meaningful action. The startup's initial success was built on smoke and mirrors, masking underlying problems with aggressive marketing and hype. The company's financial statements were full of smoke and mirrors, hiding their true financial position. Snake oil salesman. A person who sells fraudulent or ineffective products, often using deceptive or exaggerated claims to attract customers. A charlatan or con artist who peddles fake remedies or solutions, preying on the gullibility or desperation of others. The internet is rife with snake oil salesmen promoting get-rich-quick schemes and miracle diets. The infomercial promised incredible results, but it was just a front for a snake oil salesman peddling worthless supplements. The self-proclaimed guru turned out to be a snake oil salesman, exploiting vulnerable individuals seeking spiritual guidance. The traveling salesman was known as a snake oil salesman, selling dubious health tonics and elixirs to unsuspecting townsfolk. He was exposed as a snake oil salesman after his miracle cure was found to have no scientific basis. Led someone up the garden path. To deceive or mislead someone, often by promising something desirable or beneficial that is unlikely to be fulfilled. To string someone along with false hopes or expectations, leading them to believe in something that is not true. The manipulative ex-boyfriend led her up the garden path with false declarations of love, only to break her heart in the end. The politician led voters up the garden path with grandiose pledges of reform, but little changed after the election. The con artist led his victims up the garden path with elaborate stories of wealth and success, convincing them to invest in his fraudulent schemes. The scam artist led unsuspecting investors up the garden path with the prospect of high returns, only to disappear with their money. She led him up the garden path with promises of a promotion, but it never materialized. Level up your English. Master vocabulary, idioms, and phrasal verbs with fun quizzes. Translate meanings into 104 languages. Download now. Link in the description. Please like and subscribe to our channel.